Hello channel viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on channel NITT. So if you are an individual trying to figure out whether you are an ENTJ or an ESTJ, then this episode is going to help you. Now ENTJs and ESTJs, they differ in their thought patterns. So I'm going to introduce a very peculiar thought pattern of the ENTJ that the ESTJ seldom engages in. So if you find yourself sometimes engaging in this way of thinking or this mode of thinking, then it is very likely that you are an ENTJ. And conversely, if you do not use this type of thinking at all, then you probably would have been an ESTJ. That is assuming that you are either an ENTJ or an ESTJ to start off with. So both the ENTJ and the ESTJ use TE as their dominant function. So these two are the connective stacks of the two MBTI types respectively. So the difference is with the auxiliary function, the ENTJ uses NI as their co-pilot, while the ESTJ uses SI as their co-pilot. Given that TE is the dominant function of both MBTI types are very quick to look at different sides of the coin. It comes very naturally. So it's almost as if both types, will be able to find a lot of different opposing arguments at once for the same problem. So they can see the pros and cons almost immediately. Just that for the ESTJ, they try to balance it based on research or based on past experiences or based on data. But the ENTJ chooses based on intuition or gut feeling. So let me give you an example. So this video is actually inspired by this incident that happened just this afternoon. A lady client texted me this afternoon asking me if she could make an appointment with me at 7:30 p.m. today. However, my working hours are generally from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. I do not want to make exceptions. The reason being is that if I try to ban myself for a client, I am sending the wrong message to the universe, given that I am practicing the law of attraction, that I am willing to do anything just to have clients. So a lot of law of attraction practitioners will tell you, you need to value your personal time. You do not bend over because you're sending the wrong message all the time. I end at 6 p.m. So if I have to wait for this client, I have to wait 1.5 hours more. And who knows if this client is going to be late. And if I accommodate this client, she may tell other people about it, and then the entire thing starts to snowball in the wrong direction. So I texted this client, I do not want to entertain this because my opening hours are now fixed. I do not change because I value my personal time. And on top of that, this happened on Boxing Day, the 26th of December, which is a public holiday. So as I was texting this client, immediately in my mind, the opposite side of the coin came and flipped in. So I immediately thought, hey, maybe the universe is giving you a chance to serve clients. Your job is to serve clients, isn't it? You want to help as many people as possible, so why are you rejecting this one? So you can imagine there's a demon and there's an angel, they are talking to each other. So I would think that this is caused by active TE. TE actually looks at different sides of the coin or different angles of the same problem at the same time, and they can be really conflicting and contradicting. I'm assuming that ESTJs, they also behave or think the same way. So it's true, if there is a client coming in, technically I should accept this. But again, I come back to the point, I said, I value my time. I do not want to send the wrong message to the universe. So in the end, I stuck to my original decision to reject the client. But of course, there's always this bugging thought like, hey, isn't money money? Are you rejecting money? Is the amount that she's giving you too little for you to even think that it is good enough? Why are you looking down on money? Anyway, due to my practice of the law of attraction, if I ever walk down a road and I find a 10-cent coin or even 50-cent coin on the floor, I am very compelled to pick it up because most of the law of attraction practitioners tell you that you got to pick it up because all money is money and you are attracting money. So if you see, no doubt it is just 10 cents, 20 cents, even 5 cents, you got to pick it up because you do not look down on the value of money no matter how small it is. So my client is going to pay me, right? Am I looking down on that money? So I have conflicting thoughts. But once the ENTJ has decided, they tend to stick to the original choice that the ENTJ makes. But the choice that the ENTJ makes is based on really intuition. So the ESTJ, on the other hand, is very likely to base their decision on past experiences, data, or what society expects to be correct. In any case, the ENTJ doesn't really bother about such things. So while the ENTJ uses gut feeling to decide, it's not really gut feeling as per se as FI, for example, is concerned. Many people, when they think about gut feeling, it is like, oh, I feel like doing something today, so I'll do it. It's not exactly like that. Gut feeling is basically the intuition mentally processing everything at once and coming to a conclusion. So it's very much like when you go to a supermarket and then you have this basket of groceries and you have to join a queue. So which queue do you join? QA or QB? So most of the time, based on logic, we will say that we join the shorter queue, right? However, of course, when you are really at a supermarket, the number of people in the queue is just only one of the factors that you consider. How many things are the people in front buying? Let's say this queue is shorter, but the person in front has got 2 trolley full of groceries. Then, of course, you wouldn't want to join this queue, right? You also want to consider the efficiency of the cashiers or the tellers. So sometimes I do join a longer queue because my mind processes all the information and I decided that the longer queue is the one that I wanted to join. Sometimes it's really a wrong decision, but I stick to this decision. What else can I do, right? So basically, NI helps to process the information all at once. And the processing is so fast, it appears as if this is like a gut feeling. So it's not feeling driven. It's not like, I want to do this, so I do this, okay? So I reiterate, this is a gut feeling that comes about because of the very quick CPU in the head processing all the information at once until you come to the conclusion. Because ESTJs do not use NI, therefore they do not have this CPU processing that helps them make this kind of a decision. So they use data or logic most of the time and they can be very rigid. Because the ENTJ uses gut feeling and then the mental processing can be very different at times. So sometimes they can join QA, sometimes they can join QB. Just as many times, right, I have also found myself accepting a client at 8 p.m. for example. It's not consistent. So the ENTJ can also appear very erratic because I have gone both ways before, and that's because the gut feeling processes and then they give different outputs at different times. So I hope that this episode gives you some insight into how the ENTJ is different from the ESTJ and why the ENTJ is largely more inconsistent compared to the ESTJ. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this episode as well. At Channel NITT, we produce a lot of ENTJ MBTI videos such as this one. If you enjoyed this, do consider subscribing if you have not already subscribed. Okay, I am going to sign off now and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye bye.